sir, Herbal.
36 years and counting.
I'm doing it now.
Right, it's recording right now.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were doing a recording. That's better because we moving. It's
Right.
live.
I didn't
That's
do it
right.
now.
Oh, okay.
You know, I respect.
Oh, give thanks. I really appreciate that.
You all right, Grill? You enjoying?
I'm all right.
Enjoying Detroit? Detroit always glad to have you
Yeah,
back.
I'm in the Truth bookstore. So
Yeah, the Truth
it's
bookstore.
better than being in the other bookstore.
Oh, check him out. Better be in the Hope House than the Dope House.
You're right about that.
He's a beautiful guy, and he gets us wherever he goes. Personally, I'm a fan. You know, I like a person that keeps it real and he keeps it moving. And he don't be trying to be fake. He be real. And I like how he bang the music and he bang that bass. He bangs with all his work bass in the background.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah. So this is my dude. Holler at his fellow initiate, Professor Grill. Anything else you'd like to say? We love you.
Let me see. I don't know, man. If I had a chance to say anything before I went to the essence, there's a few things I'd like to say. I think it was Dr. Martin Luther King that said violence, when it comes to violence, you know, it's sometimes it's not a good thing, it's a bad thing, but sometimes it's necessary. You understand what I'm saying? That don't always mean physical violence. Sometimes we have to fight back intellectually. There's a spiritual battle going on all the time. And a lot of people are unaware there's a spiritual battle that's going on, but we got to take the fight to the enemy, especially the enemy itself. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that's what we need to get across to people. Once we deal with those demons and those battles that rage inside the self and win, you know, we can do anything we want to do, man. So revolution is not an event, it's a process.
Check him out.
Right.
He said sometimes you have to stick the devil with his own pitchfork.
That's right.
Love you, bro.
All right, love you too.
Hey, man.
All right.
Keep the lights
The
on.
D is my third home, man, so I'm here.
All right.
All right.
Love him, man.
All right, peace.
Well, welcome everyone to the Temple. Before I even do that, though, I'd like to ask the elders in the room for permission to speak. Thank you, Eykke, Ashante. And this is the Temple of Knowledge. Our mission statement, would someone read it quickly? Before we do that, a lot of things transpiring. I've got to honor our ancestors. In Queen Beset Haru, she prepared a statement here, one of our initiates, one of our core administrators of the Temple of Knowledge, and she wanted me to read it in reference to the libations. And the libations are very important. Okay. That's what keeps your spirit free. Libation. Liberation comes from. It says, for each sentence, pour water. Have a group to say Ashe. So be it. Eykke or Ashante, thank you. And it says, first one goes, we praise the creator of all, supreme, omnipotent, and in all things. Ashe. We praise all the high and virtuous spirits who have walked the way of eternal light and love. Ashe. In ancient Kemet, they were called chefs. They were shepherd company. That means they lived it. They didn't just teach it, they lived it. They lived truth, so they're called chefs. So we're chefs. We praise all of our ancestors from Mother Africa, who is the mother of the entire human race and the universe. Ashe. Oh, Eykke. We praise all of our ancestors from Mother Africa who were fortunately buried in the soil. Ashe and Eykke. We praise all of the spirits who died in the Middle Passage, to which we say never, never, ever again. Ashe. Ashe. We praise all the deceased of our families whose names are known and unknown. Ashe. Ashe. Now let us take a moment of silence to give praise to our ancestors, beginning with with our oldest known ancestor. And then we'll close by saying Eykke 3 times. This is one libation. Pour after each statement. A moment of silence, please. Eykke, Eykke. Okay. Now, the reason we honor our ancestors, we don't worship them. White folks who read books and on a computer, you put out a lot of propaganda. Their whole culture is pa means to exist from ganda. Propaganda. Da is the land. All their words and languages come from ours. In language they have. We wrote it. It's all propaganda. So we just honor our ancestors. We don't worship them. We worship God. One of the most ancient terms was nature, where the word nature comes from. Other terms are Risha, Hala, Allah. There's many terms. Herbal. There's many terms. There's many tribal dialects. In case you didn't know it, Germany is a tribe. They're all tribes. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It only transforms. And it's bipolar, and it's universal, and it's everywhere. The Europeans call it a soul, and ancient Kemet and Kush, we call it Ba, or Ka. And why do you know that's important to you? Because half the words that you see for all these countries across the world, including this one, come from those two words, Ka and Ba. Canada is spelled with a K, not a C. That's the Ka, the personality of the soul, because of 12 constellations. Kansas comes from Kansa. Those are the high priests of the moon, the lunar energy, the full moon, that influences one's menstruation and brings the heavy tides in. And you have to really tie your boats down, or moor it, moors. The ancient Kushites are the descendants of the ancient Kushites who learned from the original ancient Kushites how to navigate the seas and read the stars and lead the hands and all those things, who were taught by the ancient Kushite women hundreds and 100,000 years ago. Okay? Get into Kush in the beginning, part 1, to learn why I say that. Men, if you question that, ask yourself, what function does your breast have, the mammary glands? None. Okay. It's an initiation. Wa is the Kemetic word for first or one. Wa. So Wa man means first man. Washita. Wa sh ta. T-A-U. Translated to T-A-W or Tao. Okay. That means original. Wa. So whenever you see that word Wa, that means number 1. You hear the word diva, that's the Kemetic Kushite word for 5. Like I'm a diva, that means 5-pointer star, feminine energy. These are just basic things for elements, elementary. I say for a reason. I'm thinking before we move on here. One of our initiates, our Minister of Information, Shawnee brought a book here, and I'm being kind of facetious about it. Would you bring the book up? And the book has an interesting title. It's from the papyrus of Hunifer. You see Ampu, which stands for spiritual guidance. We use the animal so people can relate to the jackal, the only very few animals who can eat dead meat and not be poisoned because he can smell it. And if it's putrid, he won't touch it. He'll keep going. So it's called the spirit discernment. So spiritual guide, celestially. He's also the opener of the way. He opens up the mind. When you see the pyramid like a mouth, those are not flying saucers. That's the mouth. He opens up the mind. the mind of the universe, depending on how he opens it up. So he's a spiritual guy, and the Greeks call him Anubis, the original Greeks of Bible. And you also see here Daoudi with Ebesberg. Now on this book it says the Egyptian, not the Cushite, a European term, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I want to let you know this. This is propaganda. This title's only been out 120 years for this book. And this book, which is written on stone, is over 100,000 years old. The elements of it, minimum. The mines of Zimbabwe are 60,000 years old. That's why the teepee is shaped like a pyramid. Okay, and it's African writing on all of it. The totem pole comes from your ancestors, the Totex, which Texas is named after. The Totex. Tex Kana. Okay. Mexico is named after the Olmecs. Old Mexico. Okay? So, this is propaganda. It's only one section of the book that even deals with funerary rites. So I let you know when they said the Book of the Dead, it had a deeper meaning than initially. Yes. It had a deeper meaning. They were referring to the black global population at the time. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was very proud of my, which I am one, organization at that time, something like the Black Panthers, but they spoke the Kenyan dialect out of the Muda, which is the Meadow Neptune. That's the original program. It's called, any spiritual writing is called the Meadow Neptune. That's where the word metaphysics comes from. That's where the medicine comes from. That's where the word metal comes from. That's where the word media comes from, Medea. The Meadow Neptune. We taught the whole world, especially the barbarians, out to caves. It took them 20,000 years to even put a sentence together. So the council in Nicaea wasn't that powerful. You can't undo $200,000 worth of 200,000 years worth of spirituality within 300 or 400 years of operation. I don't care what you label on original spiritual writings, which you use on a daily basis. That's how they tell time, through the zodiac. So they don't believe in zodiac, they say you're alive. You can call them actually alive, but I would just say you're mistaken. Just ask them what time it is. Oh, I thought you didn't believe. I thought you didn't believe. Well, how are you telling time then? So, it's all propaganda. It's the metal nature, where the word nature comes from. From nature, metal nature, okay? And she bought also in the, Dr. Muata Ashby, Muata means motherland. That's the term before El Kibalan, Babylon, Utlan, where the Europeans used that word to create a fictional place called Atlantis. It was an ancient Kushite civilizations all over the world at the Twa. And they were advanced at the Twa had started. So I'm against any Atlantean type statement. I agree with Dr. Sheikh Anta Dupe, not Diop, it's pronounced Dupe. I was talking to his brother last year, but I agree with him on the validation. There's no such Atlantean. Those are just ancient Twa civilizations that went all across the world. Okay? Advanced. They used the Atlantean to steal your history. Okay? That's why they named the word Hyksos in the 16th, 17th century, so they could sneak on and steal your history. But we all know now, due to Manetho, we all know that they were no Hyksos. Those were just black African tribes who did the hunting and the gathering. Okay? And they are the crook. They are cattle raisers like the Mazai with the red iron ochre in their hair. They are the cattle raisers. So they are against any type of utilization of the land that would interrupt their hunting and their fishing. And they're represented by the shepherd's crook. And the other segment is represented by the flail. That's the agricultural tribes. And just like they do here, every place else. They have wars, and then they go through a peace movement. It's just the process of human negotiation. Okay, the polarity. One of the seven laws that I would polarity with where politics come out. Okay, you're going to have differences of lifestyles and differences of understandings. And if you don't come to type of agreement, then you have to have a war. Okay, that's why most of our ancient books dealt with our our titles were War and Peace, long before the Black Russian who wrote War and Peace. The ancient Chang dynasty, the one that founded the great civilization of China, out of Central Africa, and out of Kush and Kemet, they had a book out called The Art of War. It was written by Black Africans. But the title was also Peace, but they didn't take it rather than Peace. Okay. Thanks, just wanted to get that across. He's not here yet, so let's proceed like this. What we're going to learn to do as the class progresses and the tempo progresses, we're going to teach you how to take energy, and with that energy, create your own environment. Okay? You create your own atmosphere. There have been many people who wrote different motivational books. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Back in the early 1900s, there was Napoleon Hill wrote a book, Think and Grow Rich. In the 60s, Earl Nightingale wrote one called The Ancient Secrets. They had one, and recently, in the last 4 or 5 years, forgot the lady's name, but she got together, and they wrote a book called The Secret. And it started out with this picture on the inside, even on the DVD. And it dealt with one of the laws of Tahuti, which is the 7 major laws. There's 42, but there's 7 major. The law of attraction. And that's called cause and effect. The 7th law of Tahuti, karma. Whatever energy you send out, you'll get back. That's why we made the boomerangs in Africa, to illustrate that. Those boomerangs start out in Kush, and you see falling all across the world. But it's going to show you whatever vibration you send out, it comes back to you. Okay? And that's real simple. When a person raises his voice at you, what do you do? If a person keeps raising their voice at you, what's the response, class? You can say something. What is the normal response? If somebody keeps raising their voice. What effect is that on you?
Negative.
And what do you do in return?
Negative energy.
Right. Because that's what was sent out, wasn't it? So we don't have to, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that. Okay. You talk to a glass of water, you sit something in the water, put in a microscope, the water changes. It'll change positively to crystal. It looks like a snowflake crystal in water. Or it'll change negatively. And the doctor, what's the doctor's name that handled water? What was her name?
Mona Harrison.
Mona Harrison. I believe she was killed, wasn't she?
Yes.
She was killed. That's how serious what we do here. Some people put their lives on the line. As a matter of fact, once you get it all the way, that's what you did. And there was a famous individual out of Ethiopia to put his life on the line to bring the truth. And his name was Joshua Ben, which means son of, from Ben, or daughter of Ben, son of. And this is a coded word. It really stands for high priest. Yosef, you don't know what that's not a real name. I want to get too deep with you right now. Yosef, that's really a high priest. This is 200 BC in Ethiopia. Black, so he was born. That's on the wall. I mean, that's not what we believe. That's written. So you ain't got to hear no high propaganda. And that comes from the yoke is Yah. And that comes from Yam Sutel. Yam Sutel, which means to spiritually transcend, comes from Yam Sutel. Really an N, or you can say Yam Sutel. That's where Yam. Shu, everybody knows all initiates know what Shu is, right?
Yes, Eric.
Okay. Initiates tell them what Shu is.
Eric.
And when there's space and time, Yahshua. Yahshua. First. Okay. Yahshua Ben Yosef. Okay. Or Yahshua. From Aru, the original Torah pronunciation of Aru. Azah, Azet, Aru. From the Black Greeks, put an H on it, call it Herbal. So what I'm trying to say is, this was spiritual, his name. Okay. He put his life on the line and told the Romans, as our elders going to get into here, we don't want any taxation without what? Representation. Because Rome was once Rama, run by the Twat, the spiritual Twat. All those countries and cities we founded. Athens, 1897 BC, by Zemazet Daoud. And we don't tell you this information to back you with our prayers. Let you know this is serious because everything that they have came from us. Don't let the little machinery now fool you. Those are all diversions, just like the NBA playoffs. You know what? Those are diversions. The little soap operas, the guiding, those are all diversions to keep you from understanding their plan, which is the recolonization of Africa, because they actually want to colonize this area here too. Mm-hmm. Okay? They actually want the Africans to start paying money for their land after they raped them. There's a book out called Africana, Encyclopedia. You'd be surprised. A lot of those countries have $40 billion gross national product. 40 billion. There should be one poor person, not one. That shows you how the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank and all their little secret organizations, Masonic organizations that didn't learn a word from us, Masonic, have come together under the brotherhood to rape the global black community because they're not from the sun, they're unnatural. Ours is natural, we're the Ankh, straight up, the eternal somewhere. They take the Ankh and turn it upside down. They're unnatural. They defy the sun. So all those vampire movies, I don't want to get into all this, but you got to decode all this stuff. They're talking about themselves. And they know their time is short. The infrared is here. It's going to come pretty rough. But when the black light comes through, when that black light comes through, their heart, their fiddle won't save them. It'll be like an ant trying to stop the tide of an ocean. Any weapon they got, the harp, whatever. Send electricity out trying to block the photon energy, the black light, the infrared light. It'll be like an ant trying to stop the current of the Pacific Ocean coming in. They know that. So what they do now, they advertise white and blacks, dance from the start. They advertise that. Hopefully they can isolate their gene and survive. I ain't talking about natural. I'm talking about they pumping it. J.C. Penney, that's an arch white Jewish. I know the time J.C. Penney, you couldn't go in the store if you were black. They got a black man, and white woman on the cover, and showing the baby. On the cover? Does anybody remember the song May and Sammy? May and Sammy. They couldn't do this in Alabama. Okay. I think, wasn't that the Rat Pack that sang that to him? And the Rat Pack consisted of Frank Sinatra, Peter Lawson, and all of it.
What's that other one?
Yeah, I can't think of his name. Frank Sinatra, by the way, is a Cushite Jamaican. Okay. Sin means moon. Na means your ancestors. The R is Sanat, the T is top, the land, and everybody know what the Ra is, right? Ra is the Holy Spirit, the Son. Okay, so Sinatra. Okay? Frank, that's F, R, A, N, K is the So we wrote all those languages. We were the original Chinese, in case you know that. We were the blacks were the original Chinese. We were the original French, the Roux, Parlez-vous Français, ISIS, Paris means Palace of Isis. We wrote all these languages. We wrote the Russian language. How do you know that? Blacks were the ones who wrote the Russian language. We wrote all these languages. We were the Black Venetian. We're the original. And I'm only saying that not to beat on my chest, but don't bring any Atlantean to me. Don't bring any mothership if you don't know what that means. If you don't know what the Nebaru is, that's the mothership above the penile gland. If you don't know what that means, I'm going to check you on the spot in education. Not in a harsh way. I would say, well, that's interesting. I said, you haven't went out and spit that out to anybody, have you? I said, well, before, if you do that again, don't do that here's your research. Find out what the mothership is. Okay? Find out what this stuff really means. Okay? And without further ado, I'd like to, this gentleman here has been a mentor to me in his own way. It showed me a sense of commitment. He's always suited up and showed up. We have 20 here, 30 here. Where we had websites put up with the information or not. This person's always came. And like many of the other initiates, Bell and the rest, through thick and thin when they get an opportunity, because things do come up, we all understand it, even for me. But we kept this light burning for almost, Val, we started out, when was that? April, was that March, or was that 2010? Yeah. March of 2010. Yeah. And thanks to all the initiatives, it's been open every week, March, even though we had to relocate due to some circumstances. And we had a 90-minute program. We had to be out of there at the mall at 9 o'clock. 9, out. They get out the doors at 9. So that means we had less than 90 minutes to do what we had to do to set up the whole night. So a lot of time when you see us talking fast and things like that, we had short time. But through the Holy Spirit, we prevail collectively, the God consciousness. And I want to thank each one of you who made it possible. But without further ado, I'd like to present to some and introduce to others, as we lovingly call him around here, the shepherd, the elder.
I thought you were talking about somebody else. Oh, thank you. It's good to be here. It's good to see our people. The numbers doesn't matter, because the people, like Duke said, you're the temple. The numbers don't matter. What matters is that you spread the information, and we will do that. No matter what the situation is, because we don't have any choice. Our ancestors say, do, and we do. Mama tells you, you do it. Mama makes the laws, Daddy enforces. I'm not just telling you something that's a theory. If you remember when you were growing up, from here to here, when Mama said to you, don't do, don't go, don't, and if you did, what did she tell you? I'm going to tell your daddy. Daddy enforces. That's the law. And speaking of that, let me give you something else in lamb, because
Turn the board around.
oh no, it's okay. See those 3 letters? They're an acronym for land, air, and water. Law. That's our tradition. Those are our traditions for our people. And we might add to you, one of the reasons why we have a problem with the so-called government that they have across the world, particularly here in the United States, because we didn't govern ourselves the way they presented it to us. Our so-called government is our ancestors, through the traditions and administered to us by the elders. That has always been the case, and it still is the case. When we go out and try to do something differently, then we run into problems. You understand what I'm saying? Right? We run into problems because that's not in us. That's not part of us. We are our ancestors when we allow ourselves to listen to what they say. My grandmother, my mother always told me, you have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you talk. You learn by listening. That's how you learn. And that's why the people, when you were growing up, always told you, don't get into grown folks' conversations. Because you don't know. You have no clue. But that's important. We have allowed ourselves to be pulled away from this, our ancestral teachings, and then we wonder why our children are behaving the way they do. Keeping in mind that our children are some of our ancestors coming back in the ancient tradition of our people. I learned this when I was over on the continent with some of the people there and learning how they do things and why they do it. Children are old relatives, if you want to call it, in the bloodline that are coming back to you and bringing you into the community information that's needed for the community to survive. That's what the babies are. If you want to compare it, to show you, it's an old and simple issue. Just like when you go out on the ocean or out on the shore of the land where there's an ocean, you see the tides coming in and then going back out. That's a cycle that goes on night and day, year in and year out. What is it doing? What does it do? The land needs nourishment from the sea. And it brings that nourishment back to the land, and then it takes what is needed in the sea from the land back out into the water. You understand what I'm saying? And it's the same principle that's been going on for hundreds of thousands, millions of years. It ain't changed.
Beautiful.
It has not changed, and it never will change. We can't change it. What has happened with our people here is we've gotten into situations where we allow ourselves to become, we pretend, and then we get caught up in this Disney world, pretending to be something that we're not. And our babies come along and they see that. Because you keep in mind, when the babies come from the mother, they a lot of times don't have a clue as to what we're doing, and they wonder, what? This is not right. Children come here and they speak our mother tongue, but we don't listen. We're too busy caught up in this other foolishness called English or Anglish. We're caught in that junk. And we're pretending to hear something and we think the child is cooing, when in fact they're speaking their mother tongue. On the continent, and particularly out in the village, new babies that come and are born into the village, the elders come in and they sit with the child and they talk. You don't hear any words because you're too busy listening to sounds. They talk. And the child is telling the elders what the community needs, why it's coming back. This is a part of the ritual. This ritual has been done before while the child is in the mother's womb. The elders, one of the elders will come in and with a rhythm of drums, speak to the child. And the child will speak back using the mother's voice. And a lot of times the elders will ask, why are you coming? And they would explain to them why they're coming. Based on the explanation that they're given to the elder, when a child is born into the community, he or she is named. The name is important. It's a guideline. And as that child moves to the community and gets closer to accomplishing what it said has come back for, those names are added to it. It's a path, it's a guideline. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Are you sure? Because we've got away from that. And we need to get back to it. What my dude just been saying to us about a lot of things, it's important that we reconnect. Because if we don't, we're not going to make it. We just won't. Because we turn our back on the things that we need. We're not personality that's trying to assert itself to something foolish. I'm not going to take much time, but I want to do this real quick. I want you to understand it's important that you really understand who you are. Not in terms of skin color. It's another thing. Who you are in terms of your bloodline. What I'm leading up to is that here in this country in particular, we've got to learn again who we are as a people and why that's important and how to use it. One of the things, or not just one, but many of the things, and particularly the things that our ancestors have done for us, because they knew we were going astray. Because they've told us a lot of times, don't go down there with them crazy people acting silly. If you thought the water was wetter, the air was brighter, there you go. So they have to leave something in place for us. So the few of us that can start to come back on the pathway, we can be guided. And one of those things that they did here is they left us with, I don't know if I wrote it or not, but it's called treaties. Mm-hmm. If you read the U.S. Constitution, Article 6, it's called a Supremacy Clause. And in it, it says that the treaties are the supreme law, not the Constitution. The treaties are the supreme law of the land. And they are binding on all government officials, no exceptions. So when they take that oath of office, binds them to that. The reason I bring that up to you is because you need to know these things, so when you encounter somebody that's acting foolish, and we have them. And many of them are gatekeepers that look just like us. We need to know how to deal with them because they're uneducated. But you have to show them that and tell them and educate them. You don't have to get belligerent and ugly with them, but some of them you may have to take a task to them. As Bono would tell you, go get the switch. Because you got to get their attention. You can't violate my rights. Simple as that. My rights, and a lot of times they'll ask you, what are your rights? Well, your rights are what you said they are, not what some judge or some court said they are. Because the treaties, and these treaties, when we talk about treaties, we're talking about international law, worldwide, and it goes back into ancient history. That's why it's so important that you learn these things that he's showing you, because if you bring these forward in today, then you learn how to protect yourself, your children, and whatever properties that you have under the treaties that are available to us, but have been kept away from us because we don't want to upset anybody. So we keep doing what we're doing. And then we have the children out here behaving, as they say, like weeds, because we haven't done what's necessary to keep the community clean for the children. What they're trying to do is tell us, and they're talking to the elders, they're not talking to those that come, because it's the elders that have to do this. Me, elders are the ones that have neglected their responsibilities and their obligations. So the babies have to come home and wake them up and tell them, you can't do that anymore. But a lot of the elders, particularly there, don't listen. They don't want to hear it. Why? I may lose my pension. You understand? I may lose my house. You lose it anyway. Because you don't have it. Because you didn't know what to do to protect it anyway. You understand what I'm saying? You see this a lot of times when you see people from other countries come here. What do they bring with them to make them appear to be successful? You got to understand who's still ruling here? It's you. Not these Caucasians. They just want you to think that they are, but they're not. Why? Because the law, through the treaties, makes sure. It's just that we don't step back because it's a lot of work to run and manage your community. It's a lot of work, especially if you're doing it haphazardly. You're letting things go where they should be going. But I'm saying all of this to say, one of the first things that we learn to do under the treaty, and that treaty is called, one of the treaties is called Treaty of Peace and Friendship.
Okay.
And the number for it is pound 244-1.
Right.
That's important that you know that, because as you reassert yourself and reconnect, you have to establish where you are. And you might keep in mind, treaty does not deal with blacks. It does not deal with Africans. It does not deal with Afro-Americans. It don't deal with colored people. They're not in there. They're not there. You have to read it. I thought I brought some with me, but I don't.
Did you?
Probably didn't, but I got it at the house because I intended to.
Bring it next week.
I'll bring it next week. But you need to know these things because those treaties are important in establishing once you realize and recognize and claim who you are. How do you establish that? Well, when you were growing up and you wanted to know something about anything, who did you ask?
Your family. Your family.
Yes.
Your parents.
You ask your mothers and fathers. Mostly everything you learned growing up, you learned it from mama. Mama's the teacher, I told you.
First person we saw.
She learned these things from mama, so you ask mother. And we've gotten into the thing of saying that, well, my mother's dead. Well, if you believe that, then you won't ask. You understand what I'm saying? Mama is you, and particularly you ladies. You have to talk to your mothers, your grandmothers, your great-grandmothers. You have to talk to them. Just like I'm standing talking to you. Now, they're not going to respond with a loud, booming voice like some megaphone. That's not the way they do things. But it's in your DNA. It's in there. What you want to call your mind, that is your ancestors talking to you. That's your mother talking to you. Reminding you of what you were taught when you were growing up. How to do things, how not to do, and so on. So you have to learn to listen. And they've got you. They will never steer you wrong. You may not want to hear it, but that's the case with a lot of kids. Because they want to challenge everything, and that's what children do. But you have to work and listen to what they have to say. Keep them in mind. All challenges, particularly when it takes on the form of a community going to war, is about land, air, and water. Because these are the things that are needed to survive. Wherever you are, they're needed. So that's what it's about. All these wars, all these other stuff. It's always about land, air, and water. These are needed to develop political structures. These are needed to develop economic structures and so on. Without it, it doesn't happen. And it's important that you understand what Marlon is saying about this ancient. A lot of these conquistadors want you to believe that they discovered something. They didn't discover anything. Land, air, and water have been here long before they ever came along. You don't discover anything. They just don't do that. But if you allow them to misinform you, and then you believe that best, then you become like that movie. What's that movie we used to say, the show Roots, where the young boy eventually he allowed them to name them. And if you accept the labels that they give, then under their way of thinking, you become their property. Because I discovered you. Understand? So you have to understand that. And I'm saying that to say to you, and I want to make this, because I don't want to get in, because this is a long subject. And I have some flyers passed out, because these things are important to us as we move along. Let me pass this around. This is one of the ones here. This is called the UN Charter. I'm skipping over a lot of things to give you some information to show you what this is about, to give you an idea. In the UN Charter, for example, when you're working, everybody gets one. There's about 4 things here that is happening. At the very, very top, you see the word source, the United Nations Charter. You can get this information if you want to pull it up in the UN Charter on the internet. The Washita, the Manu, Moorish. I want to take examples. For example. The term Moor refers to a people. When you add ISH to it, then you're not talking about a people, you're talking about something that looks like Moorish. Ish means like, not original. So I'm saying this to say that if you don't look the stuff up in your libraries, in your own, and listen to you, let your ancestors tell you these things, then you will accept what it said. And I might add to you, a lot of this, check it out. Don't just take my word for it. Because you need to check it out. You need to make sure that what you're saying, and the reason why this is important, because you're going to have to start teaching yourself so you can teach your children. Because they're looking for us to re-educate them. And you can't do that if you don't know. Okay, now, it says in there, the Washita, the Manu, Moorish Empire is recognized as the, quote, oldest indigenous people in the world. Hey, do you understand what that's saying? They're not talking about Africans, because the term Africa didn't even exist.
Sure.
You understand? And by the way, the term is mispronounced when you say Africa. It's Africa. And in the so-called Greek language, or other terms, it means to divide into pieces. And that's exactly what they've done. Exactly what they've done. So understanding these things, you've got to get familiar with terms and how they're used and how they're misused for various propaganda reasons. The whole point is to try to keep us asleep. And we accommodate them by doing what we do and remaining asleep. Okay? And they go on to say here, a sovereign independent state by the United Nations. And we'll get into that's political. The United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland, has recognized the Washita Manu Moorish Empire and has assigned us with the status of UN Indigenous Peoples Project number 215/93. That number becomes important when you want to use something to designate recognition of your nationality in this country and worldwide. You understand what I'm saying? So you need to do some research on the UN Indigenous Peoples Project number 215/93. Again, I don't want to take up a whole lot of time because we have quite a bit of stuff here. So I'm just going to move along with this. The next paragraph, quote, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, December of 1948, the Convention on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, indigenous nations.
The covenant?
That's what they're talking about. That's what initiated on July of 1994. The Inter-American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, Charter 11, Declaration regarding non-self-governing territories, Chapter 12, International Trusteeship System, and Chapter 13, the Trusteeship Council, etc. Now they go on further down there to explain. Right up under the word Charter 13, they have the term, the name USA is the incorporated or the corporate name for 6 European nations.
Okay.
Do you understand what they're talking about? What a corporation is.
Elaborate.
Okay?
Now we're in this first paragraph right here.
Which one?
Right here.
He's in this.
I'm at the title above.
He's in the first paragraph, right? Right
Yes.
here. Look down.
Okay.
Right.
1, 2,
Okay.
3, the third paragraph.
Okay.
But the title right above it, the name USA. You see that?
It's a corporate name for 6 European nations, right?
Now, that's important because the United States of America is not what you think it is. It's been politically and propagandally misinformed our people to think it's something when in fact it is not. They go on to say in this here, the United Nations Charter outlines the lawful international obligations as a result of trusteeship agreements the de facto colonial governments have to indigenous sovereign peoples, whose sovereignty they have usurped.
Yes.
You understand what they're saying? Okay? The United States of America is the corporate name for the 6 European nations, and then they go on to state England, Ireland, France, Germany, Holland, Dutch, and Scotland. Those are the 6 European nations that are the United States of America. And where is their charter at? It's in England.
Excellent.
You understand this? And the reason why, they go on to say here, who united to overthrow our imperial Moorish Empire and Great Seal Federal Republic government.
That's right.
Now, what do they tell you that this government here is? What do they call it? You hear this on the so-called news all the time.
Democracy?
A democracy. It's not. In their constitution, in every state constitution, they have to, the government is a republic. Now, if you don't know the difference between a republic and a democracy, I'll very quickly give it to you. In a republic, people in that kind of a political structure, people develop from their communities.
That's right.
From their families. Families develop customs within the family to survive how they do things.
Tradition.
That comes out of, not quite, that comes out of habits of individuals.
Okay.
Okay? What I'm showing you is how this works coming up.
Okay.
Okay? First you have habits. Those are the individuals within a family. And as those individuals, more and more of them, do things similarly, it becomes a custom and it's called a community. Okay? And then when that community and you have other communities come together and they start doing things similarly, for example, marriages, having children, raising children, feeding themselves, and so on. Those become customs.
Okay.
These things take years to develop. They don't happen overnight.
That's right.
And those customs, when you have incorporated or it comes together with another community somewhere, then they start to bring together their customs, and when everyone within is doing things similarly, then it becomes traditions. You understand this? Because this is important. It becomes a traditions. And in the world today, in the so-called English in America here, those traditions are called law.
Okay.
Those traditions are the result of how the people use the land, how they use the air, and how they use the water in a particular geographical location to survive. You understand what I'm saying? Those traditions are important. Then out of those traditions, as these communities, or if you will, as they call it here, states, do business. You gotta understand what this is about now. They do business, trade. I'm trading my goods with you for your goods, and so on. As they do this, then they need to have a way of making sure that things are similar. That as one generation moves along, they don't make any significant changes. So they develop what's called treaties. And those treaties are governed and covered by what they call a republic. You cannot change a tradition, because traditions take years to come about. And it don't happen overnight. You understand what I'm saying? And so in a republic that our people developed and put together in order to change a tradition, it's going to take years. Years. It may not happen, but the important thing is that you got to have consensus. You know what I mean by consensus? Everybody involved has to agree. 100%. You understand? If you got 10 people, 10 of them have to agree. If only one says no, it doesn't happen. I know this from experience because when my father so-called passed and left us children here with 20-some acres of land, first thing my sisters and brothers, and then we found out that we got brothers and sisters that we didn't know. You understand? And they come in on this, and all of a sudden they want to sell the land. Somebody has offered them $600,000, $1.5 million. All they can see is cabinets, washing machines, and all that stuff. And they want to sell it. And I told them no. So they took me to court. And wanted to make a long story short, I told the judge, you don't have any jurisdiction here. This is an inheritance of my family. You cannot change anything. Doesn't matter how they feel. No matter, it doesn't matter about that. You cannot. Now, I didn't know what I know then. This was, I didn't even know I was going to say this stuff. But this was my ancestors talking to me. And when you allow them to use your voice, they will inform you and others. They use your voice. You don't even know what you understand. What am I saying? You understand? I'm thinking this judge will put me in my butt. I'm going to jail now. Because I'm questioning authority. But it came out. And she took it in hand and said, let me take a look. She came back a week later and she ruled to my sisters and brothers and all of them that wanted that got ready to spend this money. Right. I can't do this. I don't have any authority. Made it just that simple. They, when I say they, I'm talking about I had brothers and sisters. Now I'm the oldest one. Found out that there's 26 of us. Oh. My father was moving. You what they call them folks call them? Rolling Stones. I was Rolling Stones. Yes, but they were mad at me. You stopped me from getting this, and I could have got that, and so on. Naturally. They wouldn't speak to me for 10 to 15 years, would not even allow me to bring my children to their house to visit with their children.
Lack of foresight.
Wouldn't do that.
Lack of foresight.
Mad at me. You understand me? And I told my sisters, I said, y'all are going to regret every bit of this. Right. Because it ain't me that you're dealing with. You aren't going to tell me that I got to be talking to some dead person? I told him, I said, I'm not telling you anything. But I'm saying this to say it's important that you understand who you are.
Right.
Because my sisters, eventually, when they begin to slowly realize what is going on and why it's going on, and I got to tell you very quickly what happened to me to bring me to that situation. Because I worked for the city of Detroit for 44 years as working in various departments, doing a lot of things that they wanted done and all that junk. But anyway, when I left there and retired in 2000, I'm getting ready to live big. Because I found out I got a pension and I can get $2,500 a month just from my pension. Then in my Social Security, add that in, hey, I make more money than I was working.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, one of the things that came to me, my mother passed in 89. I retired in 2000.
Okay.
A few weeks after I retired, she came to me one night and I was laying in bed trying to get cozy, I thought, and get busy. And she came to me and she said, boy, what? And I looked up and there she was standing at the foot of the bed. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What in the world is going on here? You need to go. Go where? What are you talking about? Go. And then she stopped talking and left. I'm telling you, that was an experience. And she told me before she left, my name. Took me a while to figure out what she was talking about. I'm a musician. I play the piano, been playing it for 60-some odd years.
Okay.
And so she said to me, go. And I went down and sat down, and my wife said, what are you doing at 3 o'clock in the morning here? Nigga, you nuts? Making this noise, you waking up the neighbors? What I'm trying to find out using the tones of the keyboard, because that's all I knew at the time. What was she talking about? And she, out of those tones came the words E, E, E. Then I went to a friend of mine within a week or so after that, and I didn't intend to get into this, because this is, but this again, this is not me talking, I'm just telling you what happened, because I couldn't believe it either. But out of that, I went and talked to him. Now, I don't know if any of you heard of Kwame Atta. But he's an old friend of mine. He's passed now. Kwame Atta. He had a tour group that he took to the continent every so often. And I told him what had happened. Now, I don't know why I told him. But I had to tell somebody. Because, I mean, it was on me. You tell him. He said, well, don't worry about it. He said, when you want to go to Ghana, that's what he called it. I've since found out that the real pronunciation is Gwanwa, not Ghana. Gwanwa. And the people there speak very fast. Gwanwa. You understand?
I got you.
And so when he told me that, he said, well, when you go, because I don't go there. I don't have any money. I don't know nobody there. Who am I supposed to know? Who am I supposed to see? I've never been there in my life. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Well, he said, when you get to go, let me know. Mama came back and said, go. And I had learned long ago, you do what Mama say.
Okay.
Quit asking questions and quit being stupid. Do it. So I told him, and he said, fine. Made the arrangement. He came up with the money. I had to pay him back, of course. And I did. cost me $6,000 that I figured I didn't have that kind of money. But I forgot that I had this pension and I had the Social Security. And then my wife was already calling me crazy. And my sisters and them went to speak to me, they thought I was nuts too. And when I went to talk to him, and we went in 2002 to Guatemala, and he usually takes people on a tour route when you have a route, you follow all the rest of the tours go and they show you these things and they show you. We got up into the hills in the land in one of the villages because he didn't always stay on the route. He went to the village with the people. And he got up there in his land. And I was out here taking pictures of some kids playing in the river. Now, you have to see this. Here these little kids running around there, all naked. Ain't none of them got no shoes, clothes, nothing on. And the ages anywhere from 2 and 3 on up to, look like to me, 16, 17 years old. All out there playing in the river. They got a boat that they done took a log and carved out of and made it, and it had a hole in it, but it wasn't sinking. And then right down the road, looked like about from here to that driveway or so, that looked like there'd be about 6 or 7 alligators sitting on the thing there. You understand? What the hell? Because see, I'm called Tarzan, they're supposed to be nuts. You understand me? I wonder what the heck is going on. I ran out of film. And I turned around, I had this jacket on. You understand it? I reached into the pocket here, took the film out, and I was putting it back in my camera, and something told me to turn around. I turned around, and there was a man standing there. Now listen to what I said. I did not say there was a man coming there. I said he was standing there. He wasn't there. No spookism. He wasn't there a few moments ago. Not here. He wasn't even around anywhere. He was there. And I turned around and looked, and he looked at me and he said, "Huh." Now I didn't understand the language, but he pointed. And unfortunately for me, it was another young boy up there by the hill, saw him and heard what he said. And I'm turning around and looking. And when I look back around again, he wasn't there. I didn't say he walked away. He was not there. You understand me? There is no, at the time that I was there, in Guatemala, there was no telephones, no radios. How in the world did this man know who I was? Because I don't know him. And this young boy comes out, he said, that was the Risha. He told me to go north. Risha? Yes. And I went immediately, I went and found Kwame out. Hey man, what's going on here? Get me out of here because I can't deal with this. Yes, sir. He said, no. We're going to do what was said to you. This was not on the plan for the tour. North turned out to be another 600 miles. From down there in the Accra area, if you've heard anything about Guatemala, the capital city, so-called. Yeah. Down there, another 600 miles north, in what turned out to be Bongo. And up in that area, now when we got there on the tour bus, because you ain't got no paved roads like you got. You think you ride on country. This ain't nothing but dirt roads, mud, and dirt roads. That's all it is. And a lot of grass growing around. How in the world that guy ever got there, I don't know. But when we got to up there in the north, where he was, where we was, I've been told to go. So when I told Kwame what happened, he said, we go. He took the bus. There was about 15 people on it, and they were mad. And he explained to them, they were mad at me. What the heck we going up here for? We don't know nobody. We didn't pay for this. And they were all upset with him. But he said he had problems. And he took me there, up into this village called Bongo. And it turned out that it was just a few, about 50 miles from the border where one of our borders are. These people met the bus. There was about 8 of them met the bus. Now, how they knew it was coming, don't ask me. It's like you can't ask me how that man appeared. I don't know. But they were there waiting for us when we got there. We got off the bus and they started to talk. Now the language, they didn't speak English, they were talking their mother tongues there. So I didn't understand nothing they were saying. Turns out that one of the sisters there I had met here in Detroit. Her name was Ramatu. I had met her and she spoke both languages, the English and so on. And she told me, she said, "You come here?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, why you come?" I said, "I don't know why I do." She said, she went and talked to her father, who was a chief in the village. She come back and she said, "Come with us." We all went inside the building, and inside the building up there, she explained to me why we had come. And we had come there to meet with the Queen Mother and the others. And that when I came back down, they told us to come down back into the area, because when we got there, it was about, I'm going to say it was about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, because we rode all night. There was no stopping. We got in there, and funny thing about it is, the bus driver and his assistant, they are Asantes.
Asante driver?
Yes. When they went to Asantes, and these people, they fight. They don't talk, they fight. So when he got there, the driver realized when he was at, he wanted to leave. They wouldn't let him leave. Because they were getting ready. And Kwame, he did something, and he said something to him and Ramatu, they got it together so that they wouldn't leave. Because they were getting ready to fight. Why? Don't ask me why, I don't know. Because I don't know nothing about this. I found out later, years later, why this was going on. But Ramatu came back, and we came back downstairs in the center area outside the building. There must have been about hundreds of people standing out there. Now, don't ask me how they got there, because still, I'm confused. Where all these people come from? Why are they here? Ramatu talked to 3 or 4 elderly women, and I learned then we had people in that village that were 150 to 200 years old.
Wow.
And walking around just like you and I.
Yes, sir.
And they were not fat people.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
They were medium, because Ramatu was medium built. They came up to me, because she had introduced me to the chief and others in there, and they were up there pulling on me. What was wrong with these folks? What I found out later is this is their science of verifying what they see and what they've been told.
Okay.
And she come back and told me, she said, "You are the first one." Excuse me. Okay. You are the first one to come back in 3,500 years.
Wow.
The first one. And guess what they named me? Eykke. But I couldn't pronounce it. Ramatu said to me, Eykke. It means the first to return. You understand? At that time, and I won't make this short because I don't do, but anyway, that became significant because it led to me giving myself to my ancestors and letting them handle me. And I doing what they say. I'll have to finish this story another time. Let me get real quick. I gave you this. I'd like for you to read it because it has good information here, particularly about this England, Ireland, France, Germany, Holland, Dutch, and Scotland being the members of those countries being the members of the United States of America. Okay. They are the corporate entities that put this together, and the charter is in England. You understand? So you get a good idea of what this, because as it becomes important down the road, then they go on to say that the United States of America Corporation is the administrating authority for the Moorish territories, that's the lands that the indigenous people have across the world. They are the administrating territories, which are in the category of trust territories under mandate of the United Nations. The United Nations will terminate the United States of America's mandate over the Moorish territories and Great Seal Federal Republic government once we regain a full measure of self-government sovereign capacity. When did that happen? Did it happen? Yes, it did. 2004, the United Nations terminated that. When did the economic mess start to fall apart here in this country and worldwide? 2006. And the reason why, again, what did they say? They terminated the trust of the land, air, and water. If you're familiar with that Great Seal, where they have that pyramid with the eye on it, and it's hanging in the air over water and land, that's the Great Seal we're talking about. I want to go on with this here. The United Nations International Decade of the World's Indigenous People of 1995 to 2004 is the window period that the United Nations have set to terminate all mandates of territories currently administered as trust territories, thereby eliminating colonialism and enslavement of the world's indigenous people. The law is the United Nations Human Rights of the Indigenous Peoples and the Washington D-Doug-Gamor are mentioned in the following reports. They declare the United States bankrupt. And as such, the United States is bankrupt and its sovereignty is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Except in our minds, which is in the first place. Okay? The courts in the United States and the states are not sovereign, thus the courts and the prosecutors cannot have nor bring a claim against anyone because as a bankrupt entity, it has no authority to operate. But they're doing it anyway, and how and why do they do it? Because they get us to agree to a contract. Understand? So this becomes important that you understand that, because here it goes on down further in the next paragraph where it says land mandate under land grant number 923 in Public Law 43 USC 59. They talk about the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against the United States and Turner's heirs purchased the land. The United States Supreme Court case numbers for the decisions are 32 and 191 from 6/16/1948. Now that's the wrong date. It should be 1848. The Empress held the original title to the land west of the Allegheny Appalachian Mountains since 1713. Therefore, all of the land in question, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, Indiana, Alabama, Texas, Mississippi, Illinois, Georgia, Florida, Delaware, Tennessee, etc., belong to the owners, the Washington Crown. The Washington Land Grant number 923 is a public law standing on the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2, signed September the 17th, 1787. Under the U.S. Constitution's Privacy Clause, Article 6, Section 2. You can look this up in the Constitution, and I suggest that you get this so you can know what you're talking about. Look it up, but don't take my word for it. It's there. This under the U.S. Supreme Court Constitution, Article Section 2, federal provisions override conflicting state laws governing indigenous lands and people, and states may not interfere with federal U.S. ownership, quote unquote, of public lands, quote unquote. In addition, Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution precludes the federal government from entering into treaty agreements with any entity other than another fully sovereign national entity. Land grants are issued between sovereigns, and all federal grants or patents stem from the law of nations, that's treaty law. Therefore, treaties are the law of the land. The Washington Moorish Empire retains their unalienable and natural law rights to complete sovereignty as an independent nation. You understand this?
Oh, there's one question.
Yes.
At the beginning of the paragraph, land mandate and the land grant, number 923 in public law, 43 U.S. Code 59. You said that June 16th, that first sentence?
June 16th, where it says June 16th, 1948.
That should be what?
This is June 16th, 1848. That's a wrong date.
Okay,
1848.
Thank you.
And that court decision case is Pollard versus Hagen. You can look it up. I think I brought one. Yeah, I brought one with me to show you, so you can look this and see for yourself.
Okay.
These things actually exist. Here.
You said Pollard versus Hagen?
Pollard, P-O-L-L-A-R-D versus Hagen, H-A-G-A-N. Here it is here.
Pollard versus Hagen. Like a Ray Hagen, H-A-G-N, like Reverend Ray Hagen?
H-A-G-A-N.
G-A-N, okay. And the U.S. represents the 6 European countries, USA. Abbreviation represents 6 European countries, England,
Represent
Ireland,
6?
France, Germany, Holland, and Dutch, and Scotland.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay? Again, do your research. Look it up. Did you get one?
Okay.
Pass on back. Pass on back.
Well, he's just passing them.
Oh, Pollard. Pollard.
Just pass it. For those that didn't get it,
The second hand on Pollard. Okay, I got it. You can do that. Make sure they all got it.
pass that one. Here, I'm gonna give you. Okay. At the very top of this, when I just passed out, you see it, U.S. Supreme Court decision called the land mandate. Pollard versus Hagen.
Right.
The court, the case number is 44 U.S.C. 213, 221, 233, and then the date is 1848. Okay? This becomes vital because when that decision was made, the states ignored it. Because it didn't work for them. And now that it has come back around to haunt them, they act like they don't know what to do. Because now you have a claim that you can exercise and put in place to bring your claim for your land. Do not confuse land with property, because it ain't the same thing. Okay?
Differentiate for the class.
Property is additions to land. You have the land here, and then you build a house or building or structure, something on it. That's property. Understand what I'm saying? They're not the same thing. But there are laws here in this country that you can use under the treaty that will bring that land and property together.
Okay, unified.
Bring it together. I have to show you how to do that, but that's a long story, and I'll do that in one of my
Another time.
workshops if you want,
Another time.
that we have. Okay? Just want to move
It's
on.
essential. Another
Yeah.
time, right.
Anybody didn't get one of these?
And when it needs, still needs the Pollard versus Hagen.
Anybody didn't get one of these here? The UN charters as a source. They wanted to get one of these.
You got them on paper, do you?
We'll move on so that you know, here, most of us are faced a lot of times with decisions about driving. State of Michigan ain't the only one, but it's one of the worst ones. Take one, please.
Yeah, I'll get one of you, whatever you do. I'll still help you. I'll provide it with you.
Here we go.
I'll call it back.
Wait.
Very quickly,
Thanks.
these are U.S. Supreme Court decisions about the rights of people to travel. Notice what I'm saying, because in law, in these countries, in the Western world, terms are important. Notice what they're saying, the right to travel, not drive. Michigan will tell you in a moment, when you get a license, that they're giving you driving privileges. That's mean, that's a contract. And so if you accept that, then they want to use that to control what they do. Go on to say the government, which is an entity, cannot and does not give rights. It has no rights to give. Okay? The government has obligations and duties which it must fulfill under its obligations and oaths. Then number one, state versus Armstead. The right to mode of conveyance, the right to locomotion are all absolute rights, and the police cannot make void the exercise of these rights. Going down into Chicago motor coach, use of the public roads and highways for the purpose of private travel and transportation is not a mere privilege, but a common right of which the public and the natural living persons, beings, cannot be deprived of. Go on here, the right to travel and or park is part of the liberty of which the natural living persons, beings, cannot be deprived under the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution. Thompson versus Smith, rights of citizenship and natural living beings travel upon the park. And you can read this and you'll see what this is about. The states have no authority to force you to take and become a driver. But where the authority is when you do business. If you use your car to transport a business object, or you want to transport people and you charge them for the ride, let's say we're riding in a cab or bus or something, then they have the right to license you.
Okay.
But if you have a private automobile, which is what I have, then they cannot license you. But you need to know these things in order to exercise that just a moment. You need to know these things to exercise that right. The reason I say this, sure, they're going to give you a hard time because they're losing revenue. And this is what it's about, money with the state. And they want that money. So yes, they will give you a hard time. They will even try to threaten you. Which I've been through that. Because I don't have a driver's license anymore. Give it up.
Okay.
My automobile is registered as private property of my house, which is part of my land.
Okay.
Understand? And I use it for private affairs, my family affairs, my private affairs. I don't use it for commercial reasons. Okay, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's important. Because you can challenge the judge with that. But I'm not telling you to go out and do this, because if you don't know what you're doing, you ain't done your homework, they will burn you. At least they will.
So it's a privilege if it's commercial in nature?
If it's commercial in any way, shape, or form, then yes, they have the right to require you to have a license. Okay. Not only you, the operator of the vehicle, but the vehicle itself. Meaning that you have to have a license on the vehicle and a form of registration. They can require that. They can require you to get insurance if you're using it for commercial purposes in any way, shape, or form. But if you're not using it for that purpose, you don't have to have it. But you have to say these things. And I will get into that, not today, but again, at the back of this, there's a vehicle traffic. You can read that. If you have any questions, let me know.
We'll schedule those for future workshops.
Yeah.
People for staying in trouble. Fantastic.
I want to also very quickly show you, these are some samples of these classes around of the types of contracts that we a lot of times get ourselves involved in. And some time ago, there was some information passed out about income tax. Many of us don't know that income tax is voluntary, unless you're doing business. But if you're working for some company and in exchange for your work, they pay you a wage. Wages are not taxable. The U.S. Supreme Court made it very clear. But the IRS will argue with you about it. They will even threaten you. They will even try to take you to court. All of that is bluff. If you allow yourself to be drawn into it, and then you sign some kind of agreement to pay them, then you're on the hook. Understand what I'm saying? This is something here. Take one, pass it on. You need your house.
They're two different things.
Huh?
They're two different things.
No, they go together.
Oh, I see.
It's a couple.
Okay.
They go together.
USC. I'm missing
Yeah,
the
that's
top.
the next one.
No, this,
Those are extras.
I'm
Okay.
missing the top sheet on
Which
two of these.
Oh, here it is right here.
Okay. Still missing one. It's okay.
That loose sheet goes with the
Right.
one, so if you find one where there's, they should be together.
I'm missing one.
You missing one?
The agreement was losing. You know this one.
You got an extra one?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, you got that? No.
What's the green sheet like that?
Okay. Gotcha. Un momento. It's stapled together. So I want you to do this. Yeah. Right, thanks.
Anybody want to get one?
Anybody at the top, she needs one. She's like, you can get one, Mark. I'll wait for you. Take what I'll do.
If you didn't get one,
Sean, what I'll do is, Shawnee?
Yes,
You got one, right?
Yes, I get it.
Okay.
if you didn't get one, because, see, I'm on Social Security too, and these things get to be expensive to me.
Oh, I understand.
Budgetary.
Yes,
I understand.
okay. So if you can pass this around here now.
I understand
Very
shoestring.
quickly.
You understand shoestring budget.
Yes.
And zero-based budget.
Thank you.
There's a green sheet.
No, that's, there's it right there.
This last sheet,
Pass it
the
down.
very top is called standing and winning. What that means in law is that if you do not have standing, then you're gonna lose. I don't care what your argument is. You have to have standing. And that's it is explained here how you do that. What they mean by that is you have to be the holder in due course in the law firm of whatever it is that the subject is about. If you are the owner of the land, then there's no question to be asked. There's nothing to talk about. But if there's a question about whether or not you own whatever it is that's in front of you, then there has to be some resolution to this. That's why I told you about my sisters and we were arguing about that land when my father left us. The court had no jurisdiction because it did not have my sister and them, all of us became owners of the land. And once that happens, if they want to sell it, then all 26 of us have to agree to sell. If only one of us disagrees, it doesn't happen.
So that's the unanimous.
It has to be unanimous.
Okay. Okay.
They call that consensus.
Right.
100%. That's in the Republic. And what I'm talking about, nothing changes in the Republic unless everybody involved 100% agrees. As in a democracy, only 51%. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to get 51%. So you can leave the rest of the 49% hanging out there. And the judges make that very clear. Again, take a look at this stuff. If you decide to get involved in it, well, I'll be doing more presentations on it here, but I also have a workshop that I do twice a week.
Do they have that information? Do they have that information about the workshop that you do?
Here, I have it here.
Okay.
And pass it around. If you want to come, there's no charge. I hope I've given you some kind of information that can help stimulate your interest. Because there's a lot to be had here. A lot of things that we as a people need to know so we can deal with whatever it is that we have to deal with, knowing how to deal with it. Okay? And I want to thank you.
I want to get this Come on, we do a little better. Let's get this long. Really appreciate that, Elder Bay. See, that's this gentleman, by the way, is 82 years young. I'm trying to say, life doesn't start till 60. So obviously, we're in the wrong culture. Okay, they say life doesn't start till 60.
I might add to that.
Yeah, in their religious books they say 70. So that lets you know that we're in an unnatural culture. No high culture. No high culture. I want to thank you. That was fantastic. Now, we're running a little behind schedule. It happens. No problem. This is eternal knowledge we're putting down in your DNA. It's eternal. We have two distinguished guests. Sojourn back, Dr. Deborah Davies, my alumni colleague in the Western Culture Universities, and another distinguished guest, Dr. Bombey. And I believe you hail originally from Bharat or Hindustan. I think it's called India now. You hail? Yeah. You do? India. You hail from Bharat? Okay, man. Okay. So we'd like to, I don't know how long, what his or her schedule is like, but we have to be out of here by 7 o'clock. We have to be walking out the door. We're contracted. But I'd like to do, Dr. Davies could probably, hopefully, have you come back at this time in the next 5 or 6, 8 minutes, do a skinny.
Right. Well, number one, thank you for having us today, and thanks Sharonda for orchestrating things.
Oh, yes.
And we apologize for being a little behind today. We've been busy every day. As well, that's because Dr. Bombey, who goes all around the country actually, has been with us for the last week, 2 weeks almost, and he'll be here until Tuesday. So I'd like to give these few minutes to him to introduce himself and talk a little bit about the fruit of life and some of his other products that we've talked about a little bit in the past. And Sharonda has brought her water bottle with her to class, and she told me a few of you asked questions about it, and we certainly can tell you all about that fruit. And anyone here who has tried it, the haritaki, has anyone in the room besides Sharonda tried the haritaki and the neem oil? Okay, great. So we're going to talk a little bit about that so you understand the fruit and the neem oil, and you can get started with it, because it really is a natural way to protect your bodies during these times that we live in. which, you know, just recently, I think the radiation, they said the explosion that happened in Japan, the radiation hit the West Coast a few weeks ago, and we have products that can protect you, not only from radiation, but parasitic material in the atmosphere. It's just a medicine cabinet and 2 products, and the other products are enhanced by those 2 products. So, Dr. Bombey, if you would.
Present to some and introduce to others.
Yes.
Dr. Bombey. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to come here and speak to you today. That's Dr. Bombey. That's actually Dr. Bombey.
Okay.
So, since you're a man of color in this country, whenever you come, you get called names anyway. So, as long as you call me with love, it's all right. Okay. There's a reason for me being here in this day and time because there's things about to go down, and as some of the things that you're discovering now by way of Brother Bay here, I've also run into out there, and I can give you a lot of wisdom on it too. And this is about helping each other and growing each other and growing the wisdom and the knowledge that you have. At this day and time, we have been so bamboozled that we're finding it hard to get out of this mire. Fruits, vegetables, everything is hybridized, everything is not what it seems. Fruits look like German soldiers, all polished and everything in the store. That makes sense. Trees don't carry German soldiers. So what they've been doing is they're messing with your digestion. Your digestion is the most important thing on the planet because it makes your body complete, makes you whole. And digestion is thrown off because these fruits and vegetables that you're getting, they've been thrown off. They've been raped, the DNA's been raped, they've been hybridized. So the only thing that's holding man-made things together is starch. The only thing that holds God-made things together is love. Okay, when we had tomatoes in the old days, all your taste buds used to go crazy. I remember going back in India, we ate a tomato, and I'm like, walking down the street, like, yeah, still about a mile later, like, and flavor. You know, flavor, because that's who you are. Your divine tastes have been hazed, so your divineness has come down too. The Ra, as you mentioned, fire, which is also what gives you the biophotonic energy in your fruits and vegetables, is also on your tongue. So in India we call it Rasayana. That means if you have something that can wake up the Ra, the fire in you, the taste for life, then you need to initiate it and work with it. Also, upon your creation, fruits and vegetables were created, designed, or looked similar to some of your body parts, what it's good for. And that's why this fruit is important. They have hidden this fruit from you for a long, long time, as it was hidden from you back in Genesis, in the Bible. If you remember, there were 2 trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Well, the tree of life had a fruit that was wise that gave Adam his life. This is that fruit, and it looks like ovaries on the tree. That's right. Okay? Now, this fruit was placed where? East of Eden, when we messed up and ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Right. And if Africa is Eden, east of Africa is India, far east is China. Right. And that's where this gentleman, who's Indian, took this fruit too. Because if you look at it, this looks like a digestive fire. Because if in a digestive fire, you throw something there, it's gone, you're releasing energy quickly, and it's being eliminated. Okay. If you look carefully, it's the same fruit floating in water. The white is the water. Okay. Okay. The Japanese movie, the Chinese around the Chinese movies for Elixir of Life. Right. The fruit of life. Right. Placed in water is the Elixir of Life. You have a bottle like this. And if you look at that article, it was written by a European, not by one of us. And right now, if you look at the back, and I've been saying that we can destroy the virus, all virus. We've been doing this for thousands of years. So it doesn't matter what your first name is. If it's cold virus, swine flu virus, AIDS virus, it don't matter. You're still a virus. You're dead. And this fruit that is found kills AIDS. Okay? This is the only fruit that will complete your digestion 100%. That means when you eat something today, all you're getting from it is energy. It takes 69 days for your body to process the food you ate today. Okay. And it's 7 stages. The first stage, you make body plasma. If you don't make 100% body plasma, then what happens? You make mucus. Okay. Push mucus through your blood, and you're pushing sludge through your veins. You're going to need a lot of pressure to push it through. That's right. Blood pressure. That's right. Same mucus go to your pancreas, and it can't regulate itself now. So when you don't use your muscle, what happens? It atrophies.
That's right.
So the same thing happens with your pancreas, your kidneys, they atrophy.
Okay.
And then you stick insulin in there so the body gets more lazy because you don't have to produce anymore.
Okay.
But the organ did not die. It failed. Kidney failed, liver failed, but never died. So what does this fruit do? It goes in and detoxifies, it cleans all that out and rejuvenates it right there so you make your own insulin again.
Okay.
2 months off diabetes, 5 months off chemotherapy, 4 months off dialysis. Okay? This, my grandfather used to say, is more nourishing than a mother's milk. This is Mother Earth's milk. So that means all the nutrition for your body is in this one fruit. And it's a wise fruit because if you have an animal kingdom, you have a king, and he's considered wise. Well, the plant kingdom has the same thing. This is the king that they're calling a king. We've been calling it king for 1,000 years. It wasn't good enough. Now they're calling it the king, and this king is wise. Why? Because it looks just like your pineal gland when it's dry in the water. And you know what the pineal gland is? Your third eye?
Yeah.
When the egg and the sperm from your parents get together and make you, the cell, it's known as a zygote, with the DNA divine blueprint of who you are, password protected, you live back there.
That's right.
So when you create his image, call him God, you create more in your own image, known as stem cells. That's how you repair yourself. And the whole body's made up of these stem cells, so they look at this cell like God, so we call it God cell. But they twisted the words to make it seem like we're idiots. Call this God. Why not? Okay? This will help you accomplish all those things. You can take this fruit, if they shut down the water supply, you take this fruit and you wear things like this, you can run any water local through it, put the fruit in it, it'll purify the water. So it's safe to drink. So as it turns a little tint like this, your sign is safe to drink. At the same time, get nutrition. Take this juice, spray your eyes, get rid of cataracts, glaucoma, macular degeneration, all kind of stuff. Because when you spray your eyes, it increases your peripheral vision. Start seeing around corners, so you can see them coming. Okay? It'll also open up your taste buds to divine levels. Because it's bitter at the end when you drink water. It's sweeter than honey, like you never tasted on this planet. Am I right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay? Women are douching with it, they're doing colonics, all kind of things with it. Okay. Because it is also refrigerant, so if they throw a bomb and you burn it, you take that and start spraying, you don't have to go to the hospital. So we can take care of ourselves. This is also not only the fruit of life, but it's also the fruit of Islam. Okay. Because it's your protector. When you are immersed in it, that means if you go somewhere and eat something you don't even know, your body's going to reject it quick. No waiting till all night long, this and that. Out. You got this or that way, it's going to come out fast. With God's speed. And that's what it does. It'll re-educate your systems, bathroom, how to go to the bathroom and get better, like you're supposed to be doing. And once you're getting better and you start doing this, you're going to find that your molecular structure is going to go back to the beginning, like when you were first created. That's the kind of power this has. We have other products also, neem oil, which I've been doing like Batman and Robin with these two things. I just had a guy in Atlanta burn his fingers in acid, fingertips gone. In 1 week, I put a lot of neem oil on. He grew back fingertips. So also that opened up your breathing because oxygen, very important. Yeah. The ability to have 100% oxygen without even exercising, just by doing some anointing. And if you in this country, especially, you guys don't have to do salt with iodine in it. You know, so if you keep doing this oil, like we show the anointing, since we don't have time right now, we could probably show it maybe outside. But if you put it on, and remember I talked about putting it all around the neck too wide, because the thyroid is through there. This has the highest level of iodine that if you keep doing it daily, it'll soak right through your thyroid, it'll balance. No more hypothyroidism and all that nonsense. Okay. Yes, there's information on there, the website is on there. This is just some of the diseases on the back. Is a therapy called EENTT. I call it head clearing. This is a original therapy from 1,000 years, passed on by my grandfather to me, in which we do a full head clean, all kind of mucus things start coming out of your sinus cavities, blood clots. You get 10 times better you can get around from what you're hearing right now. Even.
would you announce your website? Because this DVD go out on the internet across the world. So if you want to announce, tell me what your website is at, how to contact you.
It's www.drbombayproducts. That's DOCTORBOMBAY products.com. Once again, that's DOCTOR. You have to spell it out. DOCTORBOMBAYPRODUCTS.com. And I'll give you my number to anybody who wants to call me because I do long drives, 12, 14 hours. I have plenty of time to talk. You reach me also at 516-669-4488. That's 516-669-4488. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get Dr. Bombey.
Hey, Doc.
You want to get in it? Go ahead, Al.
Come on, don't stink. Don't stink. Come on.
Hold on.
That's a prison picture. That's a prison picture. I ain't never said that.
Al, would you please turn around?
You standing out. Get right here.
You look good. You look good, but we like to see you coming. Okay. You look good. Okay. All right. You're good. Okay. I think we got everybody. Yeah, we got everybody. Yeah, we got everybody. All right, I'll step in. You press it. I'll step in. You press it. I'll step that. Come on.
Now you gonna press it now. You gonna press it.
Come on. Look quickly. Okay. Time. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
It must be the energy. That's a powerful lecture you gave.
Okay.
It must be the.
Okay, hit play.
Okay, as long as you got on record.
Okay.
It's on record, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're all together in unity. Give yourselves a hand.
All right. Yeah.
I'm going to pass the basket. Don't worry about how much you got. Just put stuff in because you got to pay our rent and we're going to chips in here. Just pass it. Who can I? Somebody, pass it. Pass it. You didn't do that down in the gym last night.
That wasn't me.
Pass it. Just pass it. Shawnee, pass it.
Now, while they're passing the basket, I want to let you know if anyone wants to get any neem oil or haritaki fruit tonight.
Get your card.
So let me know.
How much is? I wish I would have known you. What are we talking?
Well, I knew that. What she showed